You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I'm here to tell you, recalls for the most part simply do not work. Recalls usually are a lazy effort because you lost an election. Well, your preferred candidate didn't win. And now there's another recall effort. If you didn't hear it during the news break with Mark Ronner, there is now an effort afoot to recall LA Mayor Karen Bass. And if you know about the general steps needed for a recall, you have to get thousands of signatures in a certain amount of time. Then it has to be scheduled for a special election, which is going to cost millions and millions of dollars. And it's usually going to be months and months out. Does anyone know what June 2nd, 2026 is? Anyone? Bueller? It's only 15 months away, right? That's the next LA mayoral election. Don't you think it probably would be more prudent to concentrate on that than a recall effort, which probably will not generate enough interest? That's even if you get enough signatures and just to have another election, because the election still doesn't go away. You still would have to have the election on June 2nd, 2026. It's, I would say, a fool's errand, because this next mayoral election is even sooner than the gubernatorial election. We were talking about the Gavin Newsom recall effort a couple of weeks ago. But foes of Mayor Karen Bass have formed a committee to raise money for this recall bid. And it doesn't matter to me whether the people who are funding this are Republicans. For me, that's neither here nor there. I'm just talking about the prudence of it. I'm just talking about the efficacy of it. I'm just saying, like, you would probably be better served in a political sense if you pushed all your cards into the center for the actual election as opposed to this recall effort. Now, I understand how when you have a recall effort, it's a way to damage that mayor or that governor, where you have this steady campaign, all these ads of all that the person has done wrong and why that person shouldn't be in office, and that can be used in the general campaign. I get all that. I'm just saying, in the history of LA, only one Los Angeles mayor has ever successfully been recalled, and that was in 1938. That was a long time ago. And it's not that people haven't been dissatisfied with LA mayors or California governors. It's just that the politics and elections here in Southern California especially are made in such a way to discourage these many recall efforts. They would rather you actually elect the person that you want as opposed to using the recall as a way to subvert the election. It seems like now, well, so-and-so we didn't like, happen to win, we'll just recall them next year. How many recall efforts have we had against Governor Gavin Newsom? And this is not to exonerate or absolve anything that Mayor Bass did or didn't do during the fires. I'm just saying, if you were expecting a recall effort to change an election that you didn't like, an outcome that you didn't like, not only are you deceiving yourself, you're also wasting a lot of money and a lot of time.
To that point, Gavin Newsom's last recall effort cost the state some $215 million just to hold the last failed attempt. Not all the others, just the last one, $215 million.
Fraud, waste, and abuse. Fraud, waste, and abuse. But, we're supposedly about ridding our government of wasteful spending or making sure our tax dollars are more competently used. If you would like your tax dollars, or if you just want to donate money to a cause which is not going to yield the desired result, go right ahead. As they say, it's a free country. You're welcome to do it. But just go in, eyes wide open. Just know, let me just say, it's not going to work. It's not going to bring about the end of Karen Bass's career. It's not going to bring down her mayoral bid. She's running for re-election. Odds are she will be reelected, if only because the Democratic Party is probably not going to run anyone against her. They're going to throw all of its weight behind her. And what have I been saying? I've been saying for I don't know how long. Hey, Republicans, where is your damn candidate? And don't tell me it's Rick Caruso, because he ran as a Democrat and he's been helping Democrats. Now, he might be, quote unquote, quasi-Republican, but the point I'm making is, as a registered Democrat, he will never be fully embraced by the Democratic Party. Never. One, he's been speaking out against Karen Bass. He's been working to undermine Karen Bass. He was competition to Karen Bass. So the party affiliation is going to work against him, not help him. And I keep asking, 12, how many years I've been asking, when are the Republicans going to field a serious candidate for LA mayor?
For the longest. And it can't be Angeline.
Right. with her billboard up on Hollywood Boulevard.
It just can't.
Well, don't rule that out, please.
Well, no. She may run again. I'm just saying that's not going to be your best foot forward. And I get the sense that Republicans are now comfortable and content with saying LA is horrible. And by the way, we're not going to put forward a serious candidate. You want it both ways. Look, I would love to have competition of parties. I would love to have a strong Republican candidate come forward. But here's the problem. If that person hasn't started coming forward now, they have not started the process of developing those relationships, those constituencies, those coalitions, what could help you in black and brown communities. Because let's remember, Los Angeles is a majority minority city. So you have to have those relationships. If you haven't started developing those relationships and constituencies, they're not going to come out and support you on June 2nd, 2026. You can't show up in 2026 and ask people for people's vote. They're going to say, who the hell are you? Why should I trust you? I don't know who you are. I'm telling you how politics actually works. You have to have these relationships. And if the only people who are trying, or the only people who are trying to either maintain the relationships or field competent candidates are the Democrats, well, then what are you complaining about? Oh, it's a one-party city. Yeah, it is, but not for the reasons that you're talking about. It's because you're not. Look, I could ask you till the cows come home. Who is the Republican candidate for mayor in 2026? You can't tell me anyone. I don't want to hear about the person who ran for state assembly 8 years ago and is a good guy or a good woman. No, who is actually someone who has a profile large enough and known by enough Angelinos who could actually challenge to become mayor. And the only way you can develop that profile is to be out there now, right now. You have to be campaigning now. How do I know? Because Mayor Bass has already said she's running for re-election in 2026. She, in effect, has already started her campaign for next year. And it doesn't matter how incompetent you think she is. It doesn't matter how bad you think that she handled the fire. If there's no one running against her, she is going to win. Every single time. And there's no one that you could email me and tell me. There's no one that you can hit me on Facebook and tell me. There's no one you can tell me on Instagram or Threads. Tell me who is a candidate for mayor representing the Republican Party at this moment. Not a credible one. Not a realistic one. And whose fault is that? You're gonna blame people like, oh my gosh, we got the government that we voted for. You're damn right, because there's no other one to vote for. You want to change Los Angeles? You have to actually change the candidates. And it's not just someone with an R next to their name. We've had a lot of people run for governor with an R next to their name. And they weren't serious. They didn't have an actual campaign infrastructure. They didn't put in the work to campaign up and down the state, going to all the counties. And then they sit back, see, you always vote for Democrats, and this is what we get. I would love someone to prove me wrong. But I know I'm not wrong about this. There is nobody out there for the Republicans. And that's not the Democrats' fault. That means that the Republicans have ceded Los Angeles. And they've conceded that they're not going to win. And then they're going to sit back and say, look at the crime. Look at the trash. Look at the graffiti. Look at the smash and grabs. Look at it. It's all the Democrats' fault. And they won't even put one serious candidate forward for mayor. Whose fault is that? The Democrats.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
You know, I've been thinking, I need to hire someone who could just come in and pat me on the back each and every day in which I turn out to be right. KFI AM 640, Mr. Mo Kelly, in search of a back patter.
That's why Stefan's here.
We're live he's too far away. He has to run the board. He's in a different studio.
You need the physical contact and not just the oral, the verbal, rather. The verbal pat on the back.
I need someone.
Actual pat on the back.
Thank you, Stefan. I'm glad that you're participating in the program and Mark Ronner isn't. I said I need someone to actually come in the studio and pat me on the back because I would have earned it. I deserve it.
Of course.
Remember that economic blackout, that boycott on just February 28th I was telling you about? Remember that one? And I gave you a litany of reasons why it was not going to work. Not that I was hoping against it. I'm saying it was ill-fated. It was ill-conceived. It was ill-planned. Well, one of the companies which was supposed to be boycotted, planned to be, didn't be, as they say. Despite these calls for this economic blackout targeting major retailers on February 28th, last Friday, early data has revealed that Amazon sales actually increased during the blackout boycott period that Friday. According to analytics from Momentum Commerce, Amazon's transactions rose 1% compared to typical Friday patterns, suggesting the boycott had limited impact on Amazon. I wonder why that is. Maybe because we kept all talking about it and it ended up in everybody's algorithm and turned into advertisement for everyone, including Amazon. Because we're talking about, you know how you talk about something that ends up on your phone in terms of an ad? All this talk about Amazon and Target and Costco, it just ended up in people's advertisements. That's what I think. No proof to that. But there is proof that the economic boycott did not have the intended impact. And I say this because I want people to protest better. I want people to be more successful with things which are important to them, and they hope they can affect change with their actions. And there's nothing wrong with being an activist. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make change right where you are. But there is something to be said for smart change. There's something to be said for the effective use of social capital. If you're trying to get everyone together to do one thing coordinated at a certain time, you only have a number of opportunities to do that. In other words, let's say you're going to get a meeting together and you want everyone at your job to meet at 12 o'clock on Friday. If you mess that up the first or second time, good luck the third time. Because it seems like you're not serious or you don't know what you're doing. A one-day economic boycott is BS. I was trying to be nice before. Now I feel I have to be unnice or less nice or semi-nice. A one-day economic boycott is BS. And anyone who tells you otherwise is either an idiot or is intentionally trying to mislead you.
No, I don't know. Because Target's web traffic was down 1%.
I'm sorry, but we're not talking about web traffic. We're actually talking about transactions. And also, if web traffic is down for a day, it doesn't mean anything if the web traffic is back up on Saturday and Sunday.
Now, okay. How about this, though? Target's in-store foot traffic was down 9.5% on February 28th compared to March 1st of last year.
And you know why that is? Because people have been boycotting Target for almost 6-7 months now.
Oh!
Which has been my point. People have left Target in a major way, not one day.
Okay. Starbucks, though, they were on the boycott list. And their foot traffic was down 3.2% compared to this time last year, February 28th. 3.2. Starbucks. You know people love Starbucks.
No, you have to show me from this time last year.
Yes. This time
Okay,
last year.
Swallow.
No, that's not helping. Oh.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying because you wanted some statistical facts that maybe the boycotts were working or something. Walmart. You know how many people go to Walmart?
No, I don't know.
Okay, because you don't. I understand that. But people do go. Believe it or not, I'm one of them. I didn't go on Friday because I don't go shopping on Friday. That's just not what I do.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Here it
but
comes.
Walmart foot traffic was down 6.3% on February 28th compared to the same Friday a year ago, which is only down 2.5%.
What was the foot traffic last week?
Oh, last week? No, we're not talking about last week. We're talking about last year. I mean, last year.
My point is, how can we say that had to do with the economic boycott or just inflation or it was just a down Friday? If you're targeted boycott of specific retailers. Now, there's a way you can't find that out. Boycott them for 6 months.
Oh.
Then you will know your impact.
What about a year? Like the most successful boycott, the one that happened in Montgomery. Not a lot of kids know about it.
That was 381 days, so that was more than a year. Yeah. That probably would have more of a pronounced impact because another analogy that I use, I'm trying to lose some weight. If I diet tomorrow, probably not going to see a lot of results. Or if I want to weight lift for one day, probably not going to see a lot of results. I mean, you understand where I'm going with this, right? You actually have to show some commitment. Let's say I want to be better with my oral hygiene. I probably have to brush my teeth more than once in a month, right? Right? I mean, I don't think this is very hard. Let's say you want to be a better pianist. You want to play the piano, and you only practice, say it with me, one day. You're not going to be very good at it. You're not going to have any real results to show for it. Let's say you want to be a radio host, and all you do is practice one day. Or if you want to be an NBA star, you practice one day. You're not changing anything because it's the totality of your actions, the consistency of your actions. If you do it every day, you will see a legitimate impact. Like, for example, going back to the bus boycott. Let's say we're boycotting the metro. All right. You usually use the metro 3 times a week. What happens if you don't use it once? Is anyone going to miss you financially? No. Stop using the metro for a year and a half and see what happens. You will see, and everyone else will see and notice your absence financially, physically, everything. It can't be one day because ultimately, if we looked at the totality of numbers, because retailers look in quarters, they don't look in days. If we look at the quarter, most likely the people who didn't shop on Friday have shopped since, either on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or today, Tuesday. What have you changed? You probably have given the same amount of money now or by now that you didn't give on Friday, which was a work day. Who the hell shops on a Friday, a work day? And if you didn't shop on Friday, it's probably more convenient to do it on a Saturday.
That's when I did my shopping. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hello. Thank you very much. I need, Twala, can you come over here and pat me on the back real quick, please?
I'm not patting your back. I'm not.
Let's hire someone. Can we get an intern? Oh, no, there's probably...
There's rules against that. Careful.
I'd come in and do it, but
look at this. Mark, you could give a stiff bat pack.
Wait, what?
You could give a stiff bat pack or back pat. Yes.
Well, it would be a little on the rough side, but he can handle it.
Yeah, some of us like it rough.
Yeah.
Damn, that was a long delay.
Well, sometimes it's good to wait for it.
You didn't make him wait as long. It's like tantric sex up in here.
Jeez. You're the Sting of KFI.
I can dream about it. If you can hold me tonight. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Stefan, what episode are you on with Paradise?
I just finished episode 3.
Okay. All right. You need to hurry your ass up. Hurry up.
I'm trying, man.
Hurry up. They just had the season finale. Drop today. Hurry it up.
I know I saw your guys' analysis of it, and I'm like, oh, man, I can't wait. And then I kind of got what Twala was talking about yesterday about something that was taken, and I'm like, oh, that's going to get real good.
Oh, it gets real good. I was saying yesterday, not that I dislike, it usually sets up disappointment when you have a great penultimate episode. It's almost like, what can you do to top that to end the season?
Right.
And you see it in a lot of different television series. The next to the last episode is the best episode. They have all the great reveals and action, and Paradise, I would say, is along those lines. I didn't dislike the last episode. I just felt that it was more a continuation of the events of episode 7, and it would probably have been better if they just pushed those two together and ended it there.
So instead of making a whole other episode, just have an extended ending episode.
Yeah, because episode 8 is really just a continuation of the events of 7. I mean, it's not like you're telling a different portion of the story. It is continuing the events of that particular day of episode 7.
And then you said it just bridged it basically for season 2, because we can say it's greenlit. Sorry.
Yeah. It set up everything for season 2. They left you to the point where you realize where season 2 is going to pick up and some of the key events of season 2. So it would have made sense to just make that the finale.
They should have written it in a way where it's like you just take, I'm guessing however it ended on 8, put it on 7. And then that would have been like a way to just go into the, Yeah,
I'm talking about storytelling. Yeah. Now, if you have promised 8 episodes, you're going to deliver 8 episodes, and you may separate them to make sure you have 8 episodes. But as far as the storytelling, 7 would have been fine. You just push 7 and 8 together. Mark, what say you?
Welcome to serialized television.
Yeah, that's true.
The 7th episode was so intense that you weren't going to match that. And I don't know if they had shot the whole thing up through episode 8 before they knew they were going to have a second season, but mainly that's what episode 8 does, is set up the second season and for it to open up without spoiling anything and getting very specific.
See what you did there.
Well, it's I found it pretty satisfying, and I would have been just fine leaving things where they are, but there's room to go still in this story before it wears out its welcome.
I would have been very mad if they gave us the 8 episodes as they were presently, laid out, and then they said no second season. I would have been really mad, and that's part of the reason why I'm usually against watching television series in their first season, because I don't want to get emotionally attached to something which is not going to be brought back.
Yeah, That's kind of how I approached Breaking Bad. I got sick of everybody talking about it every week, but the second the series was over and I knew I could just chain watch it all, that's what I did.
I would say, just based off it and the last couple of episodes I watched, to keep that intensity, you're right. You can't go like season 3, 4, and 5. And the only comparison I can think of is Dead to Me. You get to the 3rd season and it's just as good as the first, but it's like if they would have continued it, it would have just been awful. That's the only way I can compare. It's not the same thing, but the way the story was told.
It's one thing that I like about the show is that it gets to feature some people who you've liked in other things but haven't always been front and center in the cast. Sterling K. Brown, obviously, but also James Marsden, who, you always kind of felt shortchanged with him in the X-Men movies and maybe even in Westworld.
No, he was great.
He was great in Westworld.
I liked his part of Westworld, but you wanted to see more of him, and you never really did.
Yeah.
And so he was terrific in this, and he's aging into, I think, a really interesting actor and not just a pretty boy.
Yeah, he was woefully underutilized in X-Men. And I'm not saying that Scott Summers, the character, left a lot of room for great acting, but we never got to see James Marsden as an actor in that particular role.
Which is a shame because that is such a complex character. The creators just didn't know what to do with it. Bryan Singer has no business directing superhero fanfare, much less movies. He should be banned from any lot. He should even pass by his car.
Oh my
should
damn.
be deactivated, even driving by a studio. He should be Wile E. Coyote'd on site if he should ever think about even approaching a camera store. Damn it.
That sounds personal.
That's a pretty strong reaction. Did he hit on you or something?
No. He hit the inner rim of the bowl with that deuce he dropped when he approached the X-Men, period.
He did some good work.
He did not. He is a deuce dropper.
Didn't he have some decent movies?
Well, like what?
Apt Pupil wasn't bad at all.
Apt Pupil was good. Yeah.
Okay, hey, Apt Pupil. I'm talking about superhero fanfare.
I'm just saying as a director, I'm not trying to qualify.
No. Look, as a director, because of what he did,
The Usual Suspects. He was a producer.
That was a production credit that he got, and that was about it. And that's what made us all excited about what he was going to do with the X-Men. And then he went in there and said, "Excuse me, I have to use the restroom real quick." He put it right in the bowl.
I think that's just a little bit excessive. I thought he was a fine.
He is not. He is not a fine director at all.
Is it possible, Tuala, that maybe you're kind of revising history a little bit because of what we know about him now?
No. Seriously, I did not like the X films when they came out. I did not like the black-clad X-Men. I did not like his treatment of the stories. I didn't like anything he did. I thought he was an affront to justice when it came to superhero films.
Can I change my vote? Because he did Superman Returns.
Exactly. No, don't, Mark, don't. Because your credit.
Yeah, I have to change my vote because Superman Returns was probably one of the worst movies ever.
I'm not going to defend it, but there are some good things in it, like what? The bringing down the plane scene.
The what scene?
The bringing down the plane and the baseball
he brought
field.
down the plane. He struggled with the plane, but then he could lift a continent.
Didn't make sense.
Oh.
A continent made of kryptonite.
Oh, so we want to get literal minded with superhero movies now. Is that what we're doing?
You have to stay within the guidelines of what you're doing in your own film.
He set the rules. He didn't follow them. If he struggles with an empty aluminum framed plane, he's not going to be able to lift a kryptonite continent while stabbed with kryptonite.
Have you read Superman comics? They're ridiculous.
I don't want to hear about reading this comics. He has not read the comics. That is why he made such a bad Superman film.
Okay, I don't like being in the position of defending him or that.
You're defending him.
I'm just saying.
You're on record.
There's a little bit of good stuff on it, and it's not a total code brown. That's all.
It is. It is a. I was about to say, it is
Careful.
I can't say it because
You shouldn't say
it's a curse. I can't.
Yeah.
I want to curse so bad.
So it's okay. We got to go to break as it is. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I'm actually upset because I can't get to the TV show I want to watch today because I had to actually work. It dropped at 6 p.m. today. What else was going on at 6 p.m.? Oh, yeah, the joint session of Congress and speech by President Trump. I was trying to get in some Daredevil before I came on air today.
I'll text you when I'm watching it after I get home tonight.
No, I can't watch it tonight. That's the thing, because when I get home tonight, let's say it's 11 o'clock, I got to be at Spectrum News at 5:30 tomorrow morning because I'm doing 2 hits with them at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock.
Well, you make your choices.
I know.
Your choices.
I know.
And I'll text you some spoilers as well. It's getting really good reviews.
That's what I'm hearing. And if you don't know, Daredevil is a Marvel property on Disney Plus. It used to be Netflix. And the beautiful thing about the Daredevil Marvel series is that they kept some of the series that were Marvel Netflix and they brought them over to Disney Plus. It's kind of confusing, but Netflix was producing some Marvel character shows, like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Defenders, and also Daredevil, Punisher,
Iron Fist.
Nobody
liked.
We won't talk about that.
I liked Iron Fist.
Did you really?
Oh my gosh!
I like season 2.
I like nothing about it.
Season 2 was good.
It was horrible.
You're
Order you
tripping.
No, not at all.
Season 2 was good.
Why did they cancel it if it was so good?
They canceled everything. They canceled the whole thing. Remember?
No, but they brought back Daredevil, and they're going to bring back like Punisher, I think, and some others.
Yeah, and they're going to bring back everyone. I mean, everyone's coming back.
Not the guy who played Iron Fist.
We don't know
Danny
what they're
Rand
doing with him.
No, my point is the Netflix universe is now on Disney Plus. Daredevil made an appearance in the latest Spider-Man movie, so he's fully ensconced in the MCU.
And
he was in She-Hulk as well.
And She-Hulk,
Yep.
yeah, they were getting it in. Yeah,
Getting it?
yeah,
Yes.
he blew her back out. Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, that's a tough back to break.
Well, he put in work. How
He
about
did.
that?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So we know that Daredevil is very important to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This show is very important to Disney Plus, and they dropped 2 episodes, and I won't be able to get to them until tomorrow after I do my TV hits.
Should I send you some screenshots with the text?
Oh, you can. I'm just going to block you between now and then.
You wouldn't dare.
Oh, yes, I would in a heartbeat.
no.
Oh yeah, no. There's
No way.
absolute black. I've got a hold on all texts coming in from our nerd group. I saw one text message. It said "Holy blank 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 but blank blank but blank blank," and I said no more text messages from this group.
Well, I turned off all the notifications, so I know. I'm not going to even look until maybe, I don't know, what is today? Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon, maybe Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure I can get to it, but I'm looking forward to it. And that's the beautiful thing about streaming. There is something, I still have 2 episodes I need to watch. I think 2 episodes now for Reacher. I'm like behind on so much stuff.
You're not all the way caught up on Reacher?
I haven't had time to all. Got this day job getting in the way.
It's pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
I kind of saw where you were going though. It's like, I can't believe we had to go home at a certain time, or you had to have someone tape it so you wouldn't miss your show.
Right.
Well, that's one reason why old-time TV was never serialized. It was
No,
all
no.
episodic because nobody's going to be home at the same time every week.
That's why they call it appointment watching, and you had reruns if you were lucky enough to catch it on the second or third go round. Yeah, we are very spoiled in today's age of technology.
Yep.
When I grew up and I missed some of my favorite TV shows, the best I could do before they invented the VCR, Betamax, VHS, I used an audio recorder.
I did that too.
That's all we had. It was the only thing available to approximate recording a TV show. There was no way to record visual media.
Wait, you recorded how?
With an audio recorder.
So just the audio.
It's like an audio play at that point. Yes.
So you just listen to it like an audio book or like
Yeah, but you know the characters, you know them by voices, and the physical sets you kind of can fill in with your mind. Like if you're listening to an episode of The Jeffersons, you know when they're in the living room or in the kitchen or what have you.
The Jeffersons was when you recorded?
No, it's actually That's My Mama.
I recorded Battlestar Galactica. I think I might even still have some of
That's
those.
a little more difficult because there's a lot more going on in those shows.
Yeah. So did you progress from telling everybody in the room to shut up because you were recording the TV to actually making a technological doodad? Because I had my grandparents' TV taken in and had a stereo plug put into it.
It was hard. Like, for example, when I was in school, I'd have music performances, which were maybe around 7:30 at night or so. And we leave around 6-ish or something. So I had to start the recorder a good 45 minutes in advance. And you get those like super long tapes.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have an automated setting where, start the recording at 7:30 or 7 o'clock or whatever.
No fancy TiVo.
No, not at
you
all.
just went back home and just like fast forwarded to that point.
Yes.
And just press play and just listen to your favorite
That's
show.
all I could do. That's all I could do. And as I got more sophisticated with it, I ran the TV audio directly to the recorder.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah. I ran it directly it was an RCA out jack into the recorder. And so it had a little better sound quality. Not much, but it was still better. And, if you know the characters, you know where they are as far as the sets. If you were to record an episode of Three's Company, it all happens in their apartment for the most part.
I mean, I could
the Regal
understand
Beagle.
recording a baseball game, basketball game, even a football game, because you're just listening to the play-by-play and all that. But The jokes don't, Mrs. Furley coming in with that wild outfit. It doesn't play the same when you're listening to
not
it.
everything, but you kind of know when, what was it? Mr. Roper, when he'd say something, his facial expression, you could kind of fill in the blank.
Okay.
I don't think there was a Mrs. Furley. Mr. Furley, I think, was a toupee-wearing bachelor.
Miss Roper. I'm sorry. Miss Roper, Mr. Furley.
Yeah, you could not capture the magic of Mr. Furley's double and triple takes on an audio tape, but you could picture it in the theater of the mind.
You did the best you could with what you had. We didn't have VHS or beta. We didn't have a VCR system. The only way that you recorded was just the audio, and it was the best you could do until that rerun would come around 6-7 weeks later, because they had 25 freaking episodes each season.
Look, I just missed it. I did not have the wherewithal to record the audio like y'all geniuses.
No, there was one time my sister recorded an episode of a show for me because I was in the hospital getting my tonsils out. So I was 5 years old then. You just did what you could.
We had nothing back then. We were deprived. It was like living through the Great Depression.
It was.
Look, I know what you're talking about. I'm not some baby. I'm just saying I just did not go through those lengths to record. That's why I'm like, wow, like I'm thinking about, I missed out on a whole opportunity to keep up to speed with stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It was a thing because there was no other thing to do the thing with the thing that was important to us. That was the thing.
I mean, I just did school to wait till stuff come back on.
Yeah, that was not an option. When your parents teach you the school you attend, ditching school is really not an option.
Yeah.
They kind of know where you're supposed to be at all times. My parents, they were worse than Facebook ads. They knew everything I said. They knew everything I did, and they showed up at any given moment, anywhere. That was the worst in school. Where you remember how you could beat your grades home?
Yeah.
Okay, there was no such thing.
Wait, what?
My mother would walk down to the administration building because she taught there, or my father, depending on the school I was at, and just ask what my grades were. They would know before I would. It didn't matter if they put them in the mail. I couldn't intercept them.
Oh, Mo.
But I can say this because the statute of limitations has expired.
Here we go.
It was 40 years ago because I was like a junior in high school. It was me, and I'll tell you who else it was. Mike Griffith. We broke into the school computer database.
What?
And even before, this was like maybe a year after the movie War Games. So this is like 84, 85, something like that. Changing grades and everything. I never changed my grades. I can say that, hand to God. I never changed my grades because they were good enough. Thank you very much.
Okay.
But we were messing around, 300 baud modem to really date ourselves. I ran the computer lab for 1 year when I was in high school.
I can see that.
I was at the,
So you kind of had like the keys to the castle.
Sure did.
Wow.
Sure did.
And
had
that's what you did with
concubines
those
and everything.
keys?
Yes.
Yeah, what mines?
Concubines.
Yeah, because computer nerds are notorious for all of that.
Hey, we had some band groupies.
Oh, sure.
We had some, they weren't attractive, but we had some band groupies.
But they don't have flutes. They have keyboards. What do they do with all that?
Is that a metaphor?
I don't know. What were you trying to say, Swan? KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
It's hard to keep track of everything that's going on. Luckily, that's a little hobby of ours.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live.